Already started.
Hey, let's close, guys. Come on in.
Oh, is it? Is he supposed to go?
Oh, no. Don't say that name.
Hey, thanks for coming. We're blessed with the appearance of Joe Hillman, a member of the 1987 national title team. And 1989. I'm Mike Pegram, Jeff Rabjohn from Peegs.com. Ken Bygoff also helps us quite a bit. And he's from his great and Tyler's shirt. And we have a few Bears fans here. We're got the Rutgers game above us. We did this last year. We had a real nice response to doing this with Jared Jeffries in New York and with Chicago Club helping us out a little bit. We had the band and the cheerleaders here, psyching and stuff like this. As we get moving in this tournament, thankfully we didn't have to do it on Tuesday night. Thanks to this 4-game winning streak, Indiana pulled themselves out of. Oops, lost it again. All right. We thought Joe would be a great guest. Joe now lives in Zionsville and been there for 20 years. But a lot of people don't know that Joe's originally from Glendale, California. Really the first Bob Knight kid out of California, is that right?
Yeah, actually the first guy west of Mississippi. So I stayed because I love the weather.
Why did it in Zionsville?
Joe, you're just go through some of the best things you take away when you hear that fight song played by the band and everything. What kind of things did that bring back to you tonight? I'm sure adds a little deja vu to you.
Well, it's such a great time of the year, and things really. You get into the tournament, and we didn't play in the Big Ten tournament when I played. So you played 18 games and you went to the NCAA tournament, but it always just everybody's enthusiasm towards basketball always ratcheted up in March. Indiana high school basketball was going, the sectionals, the regionals, and then you get into the tournament. We weren't really ever scratching to get into the tournament, but we had a couple years where it was a little shaky on our seed. But yeah, I mean, it was, hearing that stuff and going to games. I mean, IU holds a great place in my growing up as far as 18 to 22 years old. And it's just a huge part when you go to Assembly Hall and you see banners that you hung and winning the Big Ten championship in '89 when nobody thought we were going to be any good. The Big Ten was probably the best it's been in 30 or 40 years. I mean, it was unbelievable. Michigan won it all. Illinois went to the Final Four. We beat Michigan both times. We won the Big Ten, and we weren't very good. We got on a roll, and those things happen. And that's kind of what you're seeing right now with this team. Is when things are going positively, you can get on some runs and you can win some games. And, but just hearing the cheerleaders, the fight songs, this and that, I always remember, and I told Julie, the coach of the cheerleaders, the greatest thing in the 80s was when they'd come out, I don't even know what the name, they called it cheer, but it's the under-8 timeout. And there was numerous games where that would be going on, and that really got you going. The crowd got into it. You'd get chills. I mean, it was that. Bloomington and the fans and the alumni and the state of Indiana, it was such a big thing back then. And I think Coach Knight was the guy that created all that, but he made us make sure that we were well aware not only who we were playing for and ourselves as a team, but for the alumni and for the state of Indiana. That was a huge thing for him. And there's just a lot of I have such great respect for the people in Indiana because they understand the game and they see how the game should be played the way I think it should be played, and they don't like it when they don't see that. And I think the biggest thing is they ask for, just give me an effort. Just play hard. You play hard, the people here are going to love it.
Yeah, that's kind of maybe is that I think part of the turnaround we've seen with this current team? The efforts ratcheted up here in the last few weeks.
Well, to me, and I don't know because I don't really talk to anybody in the locker room, but something's flipped, something's changed. They had a problem, and I'm just guessing this. There was something going on with the coaches, with the players amongst themselves. Something flipped because in the last 4 games, which you've seen, especially the last 2 games, the ball's being shared, the ball's being moved quicker. I used to tell guys when we watch games, look at how many times there's one guy dribbling the ball and 4 guys standing. And offensively, they were just awful. I mean, it's almost embarrassing to watch them play offense. It's like they've never been taught anything. And that's kind of where the game's gone, pick and roll, 3 guys stand. So the last couple of games, though, way more movement. And one of the things that used to it just bugs me when I watch is when 2 guys, say there's a guard up on top of the left and a wing on the left, and the guard reverses the ball, and they just go and exchange. Now, why would you just go exchange? Go set a screen, go do something. But they would just exchange. Now, at least there's a screen. When you just exchange, that means you don't like each other. And there's a problem, and there's selfishness. I think that's been changed here a little bit. And just watch how the ball movement and the talk on the defensive end, there's been a change. And some of that is guys start making shots, and all of a sudden defensively, it's a lot easier to play a D when you're scoring it, and you get some adrenaline and things going the right way. When you're missing shots, now it's a drag, and it just seems like things snowball.
You know, most of you may remember the 1989 team won the Big Ten with a loaded Big Ten that sent 2 other teams to the Final Four, the Flying Illini and Kenny Battle, that group, and the Michigan team that won it all with Reveal and Robinson and all those guys. That always stands out to me because you started off not so well. And I think the things change slowly because it does have a little correlation to what's going on now. Things change, I think, for this Indiana team over a couple weeks. Did yours change that fast with that team? Or
yeah, Knight was, Coach Knight did a great job with that team early on. I played baseball that summer. Edwards was coming back. He had some issues in the offseason. So we were really the 2 guys that had played much coming back on that team. I didn't come back until November because I was playing in the A's Instructional League. Edwards was suspended. We get back. I think we lose, well, I know we lost, we were 3-4 after losing Notre Dame, but I think we gave up 100 points 3 or 4 times. And we went to New York and played the preseason IT and got absolutely destroyed by Syracuse. And that was a game where it was on the Wednesday of Thanksgiving, and we came down the line, and we were staying, I'll never forget this, we were staying at the Marriott Marquis on Times Square. It was Wednesday night, we lost by 30. And we get back to the hotel. We're going to have a meeting. This is probably 11 o'clock at night. We're going to have a meeting to start walking through or going through. Basically, it's going to be a yell session. 2 guys are in jeans. And when we were in the hotel, the rule was you wear dress slacks or you wear your candy cane stripes. No jeans. So we come down and I tell the 2 guys, I said, what are you guys doing? I said, you know the rules. It's either sweats or slacks. Coach is cool with this, he's not going to carry. I said, okay, this ought to be good. So now I know what's going to happen. So we get in there and boom, Hillman. What's the language here? On the podcast. He goes off on me and says, what in the hell is so-and-so and so-and-so wearing jeans for? You know the rule. I mean, he's going after me. And I said, you know what, Coach? I'm done with this. I don't want to hear this anymore. I just told these 2 guys that this was not good, and they told me you were cool. So he goes berserk. He goes absolutely crazy, kicks us out. So now we leave. And so we all go back up to our rooms. 20 minutes later, ding, ding, everybody, okay, meeting. So we go back down there. And he wrote up on the board the 7 guys that played the national championship game in '87, and circled my name. And he looked at everybody and said, anybody see anything that's going on here? He said Hillman's the only guy here that helped us win a national championship. Not one other guy in here has done that. I don't care about state championships. I don't care about your sectional championship. This guy's helped us. You need to start listening to him. Until you do, we're not going to be any good. Now get out of here. Well, it didn't work for the first week because we went and lost to Carolina and Louisville by 30. But actually, what made the change there is after we got beat by Louisville in the Big Four Classic, he came to me and said, do you want to go back to the 3 guards? Which was really good after the year we won it all. We had Edwards and Jones and myself, and I could guard bigger guys. And I said, yes, we're good at that. I don't have to handle the ball as much. And he said, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to play our 5 best players. And it was so funny because he came over to me, we're getting ready to play Notre Dame, and he has a card. If you guys ever saw Coach Knight, he always carried an index card. And he'd write notes, and it was basically things that talked about or what we need to work on. And so he has listed on there. He said, okay, who should I start? Edwards or Smith? And I said, Edwards is our best player. Who should I start? Anderson or Jadwin? And I said, Anderson. He goes, Chucky White or Sloan? I said, Chucky White. He goes, Meeks or Jones? And I said, and I knew he liked Meeks. I said, Meeks. God damn it, Hillman, don't tell me who you think I want to hear. Tell me who the better player is. And I said, Jones. He goes, okay, those 4 of you are starting the Notre Dame game, let's go. So now I'm really worried. Because now I know, I've seen this in the past, when a guy needs a starting lineup and you lose, it's a problem for you. So we go up to Notre Dame, and sure enough, we get drilled by Notre Dame. And so I remember running off of Notre Dame. Now, we didn't line up like guys do now. You know, you line up, we ran a locker room and hunkered down because it was coming. So I was grabbing guys and said, all right, hey, everybody hang in there, because here it comes. This is going to be bad. Let's just hang in there, everybody stay. And he starts asking questions to certain guys. It's a team. Hang in there. We get in there, and Knight walks in and says, all right, we got 3 guys. Anderson, Hillman, and Jones are doing exactly what we need done. We find 2 more guys, we're going to be fine. And he walks out. And it's like, oh my gosh. If he blows up on that team after that game, we're probably done. We won like 17 out of the next 18. And basically got so far ahead in the Big Ten that we didn't even have to play the last game to win it. But he was smart enough there knowing that team was pretty fragile. And he knew Edwards was a player, so he knew saying that would fire him up, and we went on a roll, and we won a lot of tight games because we were just mentally, we were tough, we were good.
I'm going to ask one question, give it to Jeff, and then we're going to open it up to anyone here to ask questions. What do you remember about the play against LSU? You were down 9 points when 4 minutes to go.
We're down that, I don't know, we're down that much. Yeah, but we were down 7. Yeah, we were down. Yeah. He put me in.
Does everybody remember this play?
Yeah, no, it was like 8 or something. I mean, it looked like it was in peril. That's for sure.
They were down 9, and then Garrett hits a basket.
I think we were down 7 when I got in.
And then that made it down 7. And then he does.
Yeah, well, we got, actually, right when I first got in, Darryl made a bucket when I first got in, to cut to 5. Then we get the steal and the bucket, score, and now we're down. I make the free throw and we're down 2 or 3 or something. And Smart's coming out for me. So the funny story after that is in the press conference, I played a minute. And Knight gets in the press conference and says, man, Hillman hit a pinch hit 3-run homer in the ninth to tie it, and we won in extra innings. Because that was an unbelievable play. And so the next day of practice, we are sitting there, and I was kind of a wise ass. I mean, I was kind of the guy that, I would talk, and I kept everybody kind of loose a little bit, but I had a mouth. I was a cocky kid. So we walked in there, and before practice, we would go and shoot. And then Knight would come out and say, okay, let's go in. So we're going, and now, this is the brilliance of Knight. And we get back from LSU, and it's a Sunday, and there is no way we're going to practice. We don't play until the next Saturday. And walks in and says, get dressed, get taped. And get taped meant full bore. We thought we were just going to get dressed and walk through some stuff for UNLV. So we all are complaining. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm dead tired. Da, da, da. So we go out and shoot. Knight goes, let's go in. So he meanders around outside the floor. We come walking in. Felly's got a stat sheet. Says, Hillman, you played 1 minute and scored 3 points. I think if you could get coach to play 40 minutes, you could score 120. So sure enough, I wise up, so I told Dunstone Bishop, play me more. And Knight walks around, you ever been in the locker room, there's a wall, you walk around, so I didn't see that Coach Knight was in there. He walks around, puts his head around the car, and goes, Hillman, they'll never be a day in Indiana when you play 40 minutes. Everybody got a big kick out of it. But that day, we went out and practiced. Now this is the brilliance of Coach Knight. We're tired, big win. We walk out there, and the first thing he says when he walks in is he puts an 80 up on the board. And he says, I got no interest in going down to New Orleans and playing anything but 80 minutes. You guys want to go down there and have fun? You guys can go down there and go to Mardi Gras when you graduate. We're going down there on Friday. Everybody else is going to go down there early. We're going down there Friday, and we're going to win 2 games. I got zero interest in winning 1 and losing. We're playing 80 minutes. Let's go. So we go out and practice. And for 20 minutes, we couldn't do a thing right. Yelled, screamed. If you shot a layup and it hit the rim, yelled, dribbled. I mean, just 20 minutes of constant battering, bickering, kicks us out. I got no interest. If this is what you guys want to do, get the hell out of here and don't come back till you're ready to go. So we all walked in and go, geez, all right, let's go. I said, no, let's shower. Let's go. Let's get out of here before he comes back in. So we all jump in the shower and take off. We're fully expecting to get a phone call to come back, but no, we don't. Tuesday we show up at the best practice we've ever had. Wednesday was a great practice. Thursday, great practice. Friday morning he says, well, Tuesday when we get to practice, this is what Coach Knight says. All right, we are not going to play against Vegas' D for 45 seconds. They will wear us out. I want the first good shot taken. I don't care about forced passes. Whoever gets a good shot, I want to take it. We're going up and down the floor with these guys because they'll give us good shots early in the shot clock. Whoever goes, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Friday morning practice comes. We go out. First possession, we're going to run through our offense. Alford hits a 3. He goes, all right, we're ready. Let's go win a national championship. We left. Now, after seeing all this stuff and going through all the stuff that I did, there was no chance Coach Knight had anything set up on Monday at that practice. That was our day off. And he knew it, but he wanted to make sure that we were going to come back on Tuesday ready to go. And that was where he was brilliant. He knew we would come back fully focused on Tuesday. Nobody was going to be focused on Monday. Everybody was patting her on the back. Hey, you guys are great, going to the Final Four. You guys are the best. And it was brilliant. And that's one of the reasons why we won it all, because that's why we beat Vegas.
Cool. Jeff, you ask some questions?
Yeah, I just got a couple of quick questions. I've always been curious. The game-winning shot. Everybody knows the game-winning shot. Syracuse misses the free throw. Rebound, ball's handed to you. You bring the ball up the court. Were you looking for something specific, or was it what was the design? And what was the goal there? Yeah,
great question. Well, so Smart makes a layup with like 30 seconds, 32 seconds to go to put us down 1, and we call timeout. In that timeout, he said, okay, we are not guarding the ball because Coleman's going to take it out, and we're not going to guard Cycling. And as soon as Cycling catches it, or as soon as Coleman catches it, we're fouling. And I think Cycling took it out or something, but Coleman got the ball and fouled.
Right.
So exactly what we wanted. We were going to double up the guards. We were going to make Cycling or Coleman or whoever throw it back to one of the other, we foul. So then we call another timeout. And Coach Knight says, okay, when he misses, that's exactly what he said. When he misses this first steal, block out, we got to hit the rebound, and I want the first good shot taken. Now let's not panic. We got 29 seconds left. Let's get the first good look that we get. Let's not grind this down, but nobody take a bad shot. Run our regular offense, and if you get one, step up, make it, because you're going to make the shot. So we get out of the deal, and sure enough, Coleman misses the free throw, we get it. And what happened in that, though, was coming out of that timeout, Syracuse went to a box and 1, which they hadn't played all game.
Right.
We switched and went to 3. This is where the 3-guard thing started, was in the championship game. Because we played the whole second half with 3 guards, and Smart got going crazy because he didn't have to handle the ball. And he said, let's just run a regular offense. So we get coming down, and I got the ball, and now we're in a box and 1. So now we're kind of directing, getting Smart in the position over there on the wing, And we were trying to get Paul and Steve, obviously, to get a good shot, but they took it away. And I think the best thing about that, you'll hear Coach and I talk about, is Darryl Thomas made a very unselfish play. It was like 7 seconds to go. There's a little bit of panic going on because you know the clock's going down in your mind, and he didn't force a shot. And maybe Darryl's scared to take it. But no, rest in peace. Darryl's not scared to take it. Darryl's a great player. But he made a good play, and then Keith got open, made a good cut. I will tell you this, though. If Keith missed that shot, it would have been a problem because he faded and drifted to his left, and all year long they talked about quit drifting on your shot, quit drifting on your shot. But he made it, and the rules today, Syracuse would have 3 or 4 seconds left, but the clock kept ticking, and nobody called timeout. And Rowe finally calls timeout with 1, and then it was done. So I think he knew with that team we were old enough, we were good enough to know what to try to do, and he did not, like a normal coach to me, why would you grind the clock down and call the timeout with 12 seconds? That was just that much easier to guard. If you want to run the clock down, just run your regular stuff. You get a layup, you take it, but just keep running your regular stuff. And eventually somebody's going to get open, and that's kind of what we did. And I think Knight having the confidence, and just him in the huddle, he oozed confidence that we were going to win. Hey, look, get the first good shot because you're going to step up and you're going to make it. And I remember, I mean, he was just good about it. That's what he, now, after games is when he would get on you. You know, during games if we needed a little boost, but most of the time he was pretty positive with stuff on the line and stuff like that.
When in '87 did you guys think, hey, we can actually hang it back, we can win this whole thing?
Oh, pretty early on. I think when we got, you know, we beat Louisville at home, I think that was a huge win. And that was, I think, the 23rd of December. And we went home and it was like, okay, everybody back here Christmas morning. We're not gonna, you know, I think we had to play the 26th. We actually had to go up to, we had to stay in the hotel Christmas night. But beating Louisville and then getting off to a good start. We beat Michigan up in Michigan on a last second shot. We actually were ahead of that game, and Steve made a shot. We kind of blown the lead, and Steve made a shot at the buzzer, and we win, and that's kind of when we thought, here we go now. Now when Coach Knight did,
that's the one when Knight ran on the
the crowd was just so
like
bad.
I've never seen him like.
Knight got really excited after the game. The crowd behind us, sitting 2-3 rows, was just brutal on him. I mean, it was unbearable. And we came back, and Coach Knight did a really smart thing. We went to Iowa. I think we were 6-0 in the Big Ten at the time, and Iowa drilled us, killed us. And it was a Saturday night. And we had to play on Big Monday, 2 days later. So we get back at about, my guess is, we played Saturday kind of late afternoon. We got back about 11 o'clock, and he said, all right, we're going downstairs. This is not punishment. I'm not happy about today's game, but this is not punishment. We got to start walking through Illinois or where we're going to play on Monday. So midnight, 1 o'clock, we're walking through their stuff. Sunday practice, we didn't do a whole lot. We just walked through, but he mentally got us away from that game and worrying about it. And that's, I think, kind of when we knew we had a chance. Now, we got a little fragile when we went up to Purdue and lost to Illinois because he went to Missouri. Because we basically were throwing away a Big Ten championship. And really, Coach Knight was really more concerned about winning Big Ten championships than the national champions, because you had to have some luck. And there's a lot of it, but he really wanted to win Big Ten championships. That's a real goal for him.
I remember reading one quote from you, and you said something like, playing for Knight isn't that bad. When you're winning, he's really funny. What's an example of that?
Well, for example, when he walked in and walked around the court and said, Hillman, there'll never be a day you play for him. When we were winning, it was great. There was never more fun when you were winning, but it was never more miserable when you were losing. And I think what, you know, the deal where I hear all this stuff, oh, Coach Knight, the way he did his stuff, he couldn't do it. There's no way he coached it. The stuff that gets overblown was 2% compared to 98% of the game. I mean, it was crazy. How many times he pat you on the back compared, you wanted him getting on you. As long as he was getting on you, you were going to play. And the guys that played the most were the guys that he expected the most out of, and he demanded the most out of. So if you were getting yelled at, you were playing. But he wanted and made it to where losing was more miserable than winning was fun. And I think that can be a little, that to me can be, now it's a job. But basketball was big stuff. And in the state of Indiana basketball was king in the 80s and 70s and early 90s. I mean, it just was. And so you had to hold up that aura of what Bob Knight in Indiana basketball was a part of the state. But yeah, I mean, when we were winning, it was great. It was because we didn't practice very long when we were winning. And we practiced 40, 45 minutes during the Big Ten season. That was it. That's what was great about it.
Speaking of how big Indiana was, you as a senior in Glendale, California, averaged like 41 points a game. Your dad was a two-sport athlete at USC. You were baseball and basketball. And the story about you going from California to Indiana involving Pete Newell is really interesting. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, so Pete Newell was really Coach Knight's mentor. And he coached at Cal Berkeley when Cal was really good. And really Pete Newell retired at a very young age to go do GM work and work in the NBA. But that's when John Wooden got going in the Pac-8 back then, because Newell beat his ass all the time. He beat him the last 10 or 12 times they played. But Pete Newell in the summer used to coach 5 or 6 Cal guys and 5 or 6 USC guys in AAU stuff. And they'd play in the summer. And then my dad became the 1959 Denny Fitzpatrick was the 1959 Final Four MVP on the Cal championship team. Him and my dad are business partners. So Coach Newell, when he was working with the Lakers, would come and watch some of my high school games. And when I was a junior, he came to me and said, I've never told Coach Knight about a player, but you need to go to play and play in Indiana. The way they play, the way you play, you're tough-minded, he needs to recruit you to play. Do you have any interest in going there? I said, yeah, I'd love to go there. And that's how it started. I met Coach Knight with Coach Newell out at Santa Anita, the racetrack. Coach Newell loved the races. And so when we go to Santa Anita, we're up at the Turf Club, Coach Knight and I go to the bleachers and we sit, and the first thing out of his mouth is, Coach Newell's never told me about a player, so you must be one tough son of a bitch. I don't even care if you can play, but he's never told me about a guy. And he goes, well, why would a kid from California want to leave this to come to Indiana? Now, he said this, Santa Anita is the most beautiful racetrack you're ever going to be. There's the San Gabriel Mountains, green as could be, it was unbelievable, perfect day. And I said, I want a chance to play on a national championship team, and that's not going to happen in the Pac-10. And he said to me, he goes, I can't guarantee you play on one, but I'll guarantee you 4 or 5 chances. He said, but here's the deal. I don't want you to commit early. You need to come and see us play a game. You need to come see what Bloomington Assembly Hall is like in a game situation. And then if you like it, you come. If you don't like it, then that's fine. I don't care. That's all right. I've never seen you play, but if Pete tells me you can play, you can play. And that was it. I came in November and I saw an exhibition game. Stu Robinson made a shot to win the game. And we were walking off the floor, and Coach Knight put his arm around me and said, are you coming or aren't you? And I said, well, I really like it. He goes, that's not what I asked you. Are you coming or aren't you? I said, well, I need to go talk to my dad. And, he goes, no. This is your dad's decision. This is your decision. Are you coming or aren't you? I said, yeah, this is for me. He goes, all right, I'll talk to you. And walked away. So about 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, we played our first 2 high school games. And he called me up. He had Bob Hamill. They were getting ready to play Kentucky. And he called Bob Hamill, or they called me and put Bob Hamill on the phone. He said, look, hey, you know what, let's just get this over with. Let's just commit. And you just need to make a commitment to IU right now, today. You want to do that? I said, yeah, sure, let's do it. So that did it over the phone before they played Kentucky. And yeah, it was the best decision of my life.
That's a great story. That's a great story. That's all for me, Mike.
And, just filling up on that, I've had a lot of people ask me, this is what's it like to play for Coach Knight? And I've always said, if I had to do it all again, I'd go back in a second. That explains it all right there.
And I know that you averaged 41.3 or something like that as a senior in high school. How much of an adjustment was that mentally for you to say, okay, I'm not going to be the guy shooting right now, instead I have to play this role? Because that's a big sacrifice right there.
Yeah, it was. But my first years in high school, we had really good teams. I played with two other kids that went to Division I. So my sophomore year, we had 3-year high school. My sophomore year, my junior year, we lost the finals of the CIF Southern section, and we lost the semis my junior year. My senior year, I was the only guy that ever played high school basketball at varsity level. We probably averaged 16, 3 or 4 points a game. I mean, we passed it around until I got shot. I mean, I'd make 15, I scored 40 probably 65, 70% of our games. I'd make 15 shots and 10 free throws. And that's kind of, and when teams boxing won us, we spread them out and we just did one-on whatever. And so when I got to Indiana, I just wanted to play. I knew Alford was going to be the guy, but what hurt me a little bit is I didn't handle the ball real well. I mean, nobody could take it from me, but I couldn't get around guys. And so when I had to play the point guard position, that was a little bit of a struggle for me. And when he went to the 3-guard stuff, that allowed me to run around and shoot and come off screens. And I'd never say this tonight, but I think he messed up after year 1. Oh, sure, less smart at the point, let me run around and shoot. But then when Edwards got there, you know, we had a guy that could really score and shoot. But then the 3-guard thing is what really kind of got going that year. And I think he looked at when Keith didn't have to handle the ball in the championship game and said, let's free this up. What was just amazing to me is most teams matched up to us small. And so now it made it real easy for me to guard. My senior year, we did. I guarded, you know, Nick Anderson, Glenn Rice, Steve Smith, Roy Marble. I mean, I was overmatched in a lot of those games, but we were just good defensively as a team, and that's what, you know, but then offensively, guys couldn't guard us. We shot a ton of free throws. I mean, everybody says now, you watch the game now, all these threes, and people say, you guys didn't shoot, man. I said, we didn't have to. We shot free throws. And we averaged more than I usually average now. I mean, we averaged 78, 9, 80 points a game, but we shot free throws, and we were hard to guard, and, you know, that's where we were good.
Who's the player that you on your team that you practiced against? That was incredible to practice, but he was really talented, but didn't have to play that role in a game. Is there a guy that just, if he was playing pickup ball, he would be just incredible if that wasn't his role on the team, he had to dial back what he did?
Well, I mean, the thing that I used to laugh at students, the students when I was at school, oh, so-and-so's not any good. I said, are you freaking crazy? I said, I'll tell you what. Me and him, he did a 3-year game with buddies. We'll go to the hyper, and we'll never lose against any 5 guys you want to play with. And they just don't understand how good you have to be to play Division I, and how good you had to be to play in Indiana. And we had guys that didn't play. Like people in there, Chris Smith was a great player. Chris Smith didn't get to play a lot, but he was unbelievable. And he always got hurt. Right when it was about his time to get to play, he would get hurt. He was 6'7", could shoot, could handle the ball. I mean, people don't realize how good guys are to just get into playing at Indiana. And, you know, there was guys in practice that just did, like Alford was unbelievable shooting the basketball. I mean, there would be days in practice, Alford would go 22 for 25. In practice, we kept those stats. But, I mean, Gerald Thomas was unguardable most of the time. But the way Coach Knight set it up is the top 7 guys were in red shirts. The next 8 were in white. And you did whatever you could to get your jersey flipped from white to red. You could foul, you could grab. There was no rules when you're on the white squad. And what was really hard was being the 5th, 6th, 7th guy. Because you were easily exchangeable. And every day in practice, you had to go. And it was hard. And it was nerve-wracking because you had to perform it. He was on you. He found out, Coach Knight found out real quick who the guys would play the last 5 minutes. Because he put more pressure on you in practice than you had in games. Games were way easier than practices because you were getting fouled, basically, if you were on the red squad.
What's the toughest part about being a true sport athlete at the college level?
All time for sure. Now, on the basketball side, it probably didn't hurt the basketball. It hurt you on baseball because I'd only get to play 7 weeks. But what Coach Knight was great about it because when I went to him, he knew. Because when I was being recruited, I told everybody I wanted to play both sports because I was all state in baseball too, and probably was a better baseball player than basketball player. Just didn't spend as much time in it in the summer. Always liked basketball more because you could go out, you could practice on your own, and it was just a more exciting game. People were at the games. a lot more coverage, but I was probably a better baseball player because I was big. And so when I talked about it, we played, so every year that we got back from Christmas, Coach Morgan would start, I would go up into I would go to Assembly Hall at 1:30, and I would hit for half hour, 45 minutes, and Coach Morgan would throw 18, unless we had a game, or if we were traveling. So I started in January, I'd start hitting that, throwing a little bit, and the hardest thing was getting out into baseball. I always got out right when the Big Ten season started. So I didn't get to play against any of the grunts and the little guys that could get some confidence going, hit that bam, we started off. But Coach Warner was great. As soon as I got out, put me in the lineup and I played. But I always loved getting into baseball. When basketball ended, and then when I got drafted, it was like, okay, where are we at? I need to find out where I'm at in baseball. And I've only played 30 games. I need to go play this summer and really find out. So the coach was great about it. Coach Knight was all for it. And yeah, so I mean, the second semester of school was tough. I mean, just missed a lot of stuff because baseball didn't travel like basketball. Basketball we traveled, we came back, baseball air buses, drive around. But it was a great experience, and I would always tell people, play as long until somebody tells you no. And I used to tell people all the time, I can't imagine a high school coach, which is what goes on today, telling me, hey, look, you play baseball, you're not playing basketball. I said, yeah, right. And I can't imagine the baseball kids saying, you play basketball, you're not playing baseball. And that happens, that goes on, and it's sad, it's terrible. Because there's a lot of guys that I see playing high school basketball in Indiana that are 6'3", 6'4", and I go, what position is that guy playing football? Oh, he doesn't play football. His parents think he's going to be a basketball player. No chance. That kid's going to go play D2, D3 at best. And I mean, I can watch a game for 5 minutes, and you can tell who's going to go play. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And I see that, I cringe, you know, that kid should be playing football. He could be a great tight end, he could be a great linebacker. And they don't do it. And I hate to see it because everybody loves basketball in Indiana, but there's a lot of good athletes that can play other sports that aren't ever going to play D1 basketball.
Take a couple of questions from people here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you hear practice, have a good practice. Whether that's true or not, I feel like every week that changes. What does a good practice look like? Is that shot making, effort, crisp on your sets? Tell me what a great best practice is.
Well, I'll tell you what bad practice is first. That's about 25 minutes, 30 minutes in, you get kicked out. And then the lights go off. And when the lights go off in assembly hall, you're not coming back out because it costs a fortune to turn back on. It takes probably 40 minutes for them to go back on. But a good practice is being sharp and executing, not necessarily making shots, but guys that are, one, playing hard, blocking out, fundamentally being sound. Are we screening? Are we blocking out? Are we cutting hard? We didn't do a lot of defensive stuff, except when we walked through things. So our practices with Coach Knight were a lot about what are we going to run offensively against the team's defense, whether they play a zone, whether they play man-to-man, and then we would walk through their sets offensively. Now, the only time that we did a lot of stuff defensively was when a team liked to run and transition. But what our practice basically started out 20 minutes, 15 minutes of warming up, doing some shooting, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. Then we would do some 5-on-5, 6-on-5, 6-on-4, just drills. Then we'd half court. White team would bring it in, or the red team would bring it in from half court. White would do a transition, and then that was it. So it was a controlled scrimmage. So as long as he saw screening, cutting, what we were trying to run, getting good looks, getting back on D, stopping the white team from scoring was huge. Now, when we would do stuff against a team that would press, generally we'd put 6 or 7 guys on white in the press and we'd run against it. He'd want to see how we're going to attack that. Are we just going to go and attack it to score? We're going to go and set it up. Because we sometimes against Iowa, for example, if you played on the road, you'd want to break the press and set things up. At home, where things were a little easier, boom, let's go score on it. So, you know, you knew right away when a good practice was going on because he wasn't yelling and screaming and bitching about it. I mean, there was days where his fuse was, you know, a little longer. But yeah, I mean, you hear great practice all the time. Literally before we went to play Vegas, we were sharp for 3 days in a row, which was very unusual. Very unusual. When we went to play Cleveland State, we were terrible all week. Horrible. And I remember calling my dad saying, we're going to get beat. He goes, no way, you're not losing these guys. I said, hey, these guys are good, and they press, and we're struggling against the press, and we're getting beat. And now, we struggle against Cleveland State. That team was probably the most fragile team I played on as far as mentally. But we almost won the Big Ten. We lost to Michigan in the last game of the season by 30. It was bad.
Anybody else want to ask a question out here?
What do you see in Coach Miller that you like or dislike compared to your days with Coach Knight?
Well, that's an easy question. I hate the fact that he plays the same starting five and lets these guys play. There should have been games where these guys sat and never saw them before ever again. And I'll give you a perfect example, the Michigan game. You get down 10-0, 12-0 at home, and it goes to 17-0, and you don't make a substitution, that's bad. That should have been a timeout. You 5 guys aren't ready to play. I'm putting you 5 guys in here. Look, you guys sit until you're ready to play. Nothing else changed the whole momentum. The crowd we got behind the 5 guys that came in, and we watched a disgusting display of basketball against Michigan for 40 minutes. That drives me nuts. Guys want to play. And if you sit guys down, they'll do what you tell them. If you just let them play, and there's no accountability, the kid's just going to do whatever he wants. He doesn't care. Oh, I'll get back in it. He's got a toughness about him I like, and I think defensively they're pretty good. They're well set up defensively as far as not getting beat off the dribble. They help. The game's a little different now because and I don't know what they set up, but there's some games where they're taking away threes so you give up some drives. Now, is that set up? I don't know. More than likely, yeah, it probably is. But I'd like to see him way more demanding of kids and utilize the bench. He did. He benched Justin Smith. Justin Smith played great in 3 games straight. Guys want to play, and to me, holding guys accountable to the level of play that when I played, and the culture and the Indiana fan base and alumni and the respect, I don't see it. It's lost, and I don't think that's Coach Miller's fault. I think he doesn't understand what the whole culture of Bob Knight and Indiana basketball is for 40 years. But he's got a tough mindedness that I like. I wish he'd hired an offensive coordinator. But maybe these guys, you know, the problem is I don't go to practice. So, you know, you have to see practice. They're just not very, they're pretty stagnant offensively. But I don't know, maybe they're not running what he wants run. But it comes to next to me. And that to me is...
They scored 90 last year.
Yeah, now we scored 90. We were playing the bottom quarter, so let's see what happens tomorrow.
No one else scored 90.
They got to keep serving. Well, hey, look, IU's got talent. They got Sweet 16 Final 8 talent. I mean, they got players. And getting Deron Davis back has been a big help because they can play a different way. They can all go into the post. But I would just love to see him. Romeo Langford is a bad shooter. Okay, he's not a good shooter, but he plays around the floor as a shooter. Romeo Langford should be running along the baseline, coming off screens, off of Deron Davis, off of Morgan, and make the team switch. Those guys pop, they got it, and Romeo Langford's a great scorer. He gets to the foul line. He has a great knack of getting hit and getting the ball to hoop. Utilize that. Have him cutting in and out of the lane. Get him on the baseline where he can shot make and get to the bucket. Him standing around shooting 3-pointers is a waste. It's nobody can argue that he's a good shooter. I mean, he shoots 22-23% from 3-point line. That's not good. Get him inside where he's a scorer. I mean, he could score 20-22 in his sleep and get the other team a foul trouble. I mean, that's what I like to see. I mean, if I was coaching this team as an offensive coach, Romeo Langford would run the baseline, and Morgan would be getting. Morgan's an impossible matchup. Put a big guy on him, He's got a great knack of scoring without jumping. Watch Morgan how he shoots. He doesn't have to jump to shoot. He gets it off before the defender jumps. And if he can shoot the basketball, put a bigger guy on it, he just goes around it. I want to see him keep playing like they have the last 2 times because the ball's moving and they're not standing and dribbling the 4 guys standing. It's been fun to watch the last 2 games.
So this is, I'll try and not be super long-winded here, but it's more a question about the sport of college basketball in general. And I was watching, I think it was actually the 1990 Elite 8 game between Georgia Tech and Michigan State. Steve Smith is on Michigan State. Kenny Anderson, Dennis Scott was on Georgia Tech. And Buddy and I were watching, and we're like, man, like, this looks so much better than college basketball today.
Well,
right?
I mean, the reason for that is you have seniors. You have older guys playing, which are developed now. Go watch I was talking about this with some buddies last night. Go watch a Colonial League or one of these leagues that's pretty decent, that's not in the so-called top 5. They got big guys that are big. And you look at them because they're seniors. Now, that's a kid who's probably 6'7", 6'8", probably weighed 180 pounds in high school, and they said, nah, no way. You watch that, and the ball goes inside. The game now, here's what's happening in basketball. AAU basketball, you don't have a coach. You got a guy that's, whatever. I don't even know what these guys do. They're not coaching, they don't practice. Let's go run pick and roll, guy on the ball, pick and roll, 3 guys stand, we'll shoot 3s. That's not teaching anything. That is filtered into the game, into the college game, because it's easy. That's easy to run. You're not, that's simple, pick and roll, 3 guys stand, jack up 3s, go to the hole. I mean, that's what basketball has become. It's become an analytical deal to shoot 3s, because if you make 33% of them, it's like shooting 50% from the field. But if you go to the foul line and shoot 75% from the line, that's like scoring. Think about it. If you go to the foul line and score 1 point every possession, that's like scoring, making 50% of your 2-point shots. And if you get to the foul line, teams don't shoot. We used to shoot 30, 35 free throws every game. Now you're lucky to shoot 12. It's just a different game. And now, they're bigger, they're faster.
Right. That's all sports, though. All athletes are
they're young.
All sports.
Now, one thing that's gotten away, you see freshmen play more. Freshmen are 19 when they come to school. I was 17 when I went to IU. I mean, there's a difference in that. So, you look at Juwan Morgan. Juwan Morgan is a great player in this league. He's a senior.
Right.
Hap is a great player in this league. He's a senior. Now, you've got really talented guys like Romeo Langford that score and do things, but just being around and having the experience is huge. It's huge.
So like one of our final assessments were sort of like, you know, you take the 2 teams that tied for the Big Ten championship this year, Michigan State and Purdue. And I guess it's unfair to compare that to 1989 when there were so many good teams in the Big Ten, but we said, let's take it from the shot clock forward to about 2000, or to 2000, let's say, right? Like, would either, like this year's, you know, Michigan State or Purdue team, would those teams even be able to finish in the top 5? Like in the Big Ten in 1987 or 1989 or 1991 or 1993 or 1995 or 1996. Well, I mean, you know, it's the sport falling that far down, I guess, you know. I
don't think it's falling down. It's less experience. I mean, I don't think in 87, 88, 89, for example, in 87, 88, there is no way you're going to tell me that Purdue's team this year is better than 87 and 88. They have way better players on their team. I don't think the Big Ten's as good as everybody thinks it is. Offensively, it's not very good.
Right.
You go watch an SEC game, you watch an ACC game, we struggle, Big Ten struggles to score. And I don't want to hear that's good D. There's not a lot of good shooters in the Big Ten.
Right.
I mean, I think Carson Edwards is a really good player, but I think he does a disservice to him. He should be more of a distributor because he's so good off the dribble. But for a guy to sit and go 4 for 24 and then back it up with another 7 for 30 the next night. I mean, he needs to be dribbling and getting out. You look at a guy like Winston from Michigan State, and that's a guy that can play anywhere. Because he's making plays, he's making big shots, he's doing things. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm biased towards it because it was such a different game, but people say, why didn't you guys shoot? Hey, we could have shot the threes. I can tell you this, it's a heck of a lot easier when a coach gives you the full green light to just jack up threes, and you miss 3 or 4 in a row, you don't come sit down. I mean, if Alfred had a green light, I mean, Alfred had pretty much had a green light, but if he could have had a bigger green light, he could just pull up and shoot on, he could have pulled up from 30 feet. I mean, so it's different. It's just, but the age of guys playing, you don't have 22, 23-year-olds playing. That's a big thing. I mean, a 22-year-old kid playing against an 18-year-old guy, I don't care if the 18-year-old guy's more talented. It physically, it doesn't match up.
Time for 1 or 2 more questions. Anybody out here want to ask a question?
We have an online question.
Okay, one online question.
We got an online question from Gary Bowman. He asked, what was one thing that you do after a good performance?
Gary, I know Gary. Gary, what are you doing? you should be studying something. No, so what we would do after games, after good performance? Well, one thing that I think Coach and I was great at, and really as a team and as individuals, the next game was always more important than the last game. So if we walk into a game and we beat somebody, like if we beat Michigan, for example, he would come in and say, hey, all right, great win, guys, great effort, really did a good job, but hey, look, we got to play Northwestern on Wednesday. If we don't beat Northwestern on Wednesday, this is a waste. Enjoy this, come back tomorrow focused and ready to go. So he moved on, and I think the hardest thing in college sports, and he always talked about it, was watch the teams like, you know, say for example, a team in the middle of the road. They beat the best team in the league, and then go lose the best team the next time. There's a letdown. He kept us on an even keel the whole way. And I think with 18 to 22-year-olds, I used to not understand that, and it bothered me. It's like, guys, I won this game, let's go. You know, he kind of made that comment after we won the national championship game. He said, hey, you seniors, I'm really proud. This is a great way to finish your career. I love the fact that, you know, you get to call yourself national champs for the rest of your life. For you guys coming back next year, if we're not in the same spot, I'm going to be pissed off. It's like, what? Are you crazy? So, but I think that's now, he would walk up to you in a situation like that, and he'd put your arm around you and say, hey, Hillman, way to play tonight. You can really help us when you play like that. Or, hey, you got to keep playing like that every night. That was really good. And I really felt like I became a part of Indiana basketball. The night after the championship game, we were in New Orleans. So we were in the football locker room. And, you know, football locker rooms are massive compared to a college or a basketball locker room. And the showers are 50, 100 showers in the Saints locker room. And so we're going through, and Knight's sitting with a bunch of his buddies and coaches, and he didn't see me coming. I know he didn't see me coming. And I'm going walking in, and Knight says, man, that Hillman earned his scholarship tonight. We don't win without him tonight. And right then and there, I felt, okay, I'm a part of Indiana basketball. Because we did something that championship game that will probably never, ever happen again. We won the game, we only had 4 guys score. Now, I don't know if that's ever happened. It hadn't happened since because I looked at it. But we only had 4 guys score. And Knight was really good about positive contributions, rebounds, steals, assists, defending. Don't necessarily have to score because we got other guys that can score. So he always made that guy feel really good about contributing to the game even if he didn't score. So that's why I go back to 98% to 2%. He was really, really good about patting you on the back. Now, he didn't do it out in public, but he'd pull you aside and trust me, that made you feel great.
Hey, thanks for everybody for coming, especially because we didn't know what day Indiana was playing until Sunday. Special thanks to Joe for coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, that's fun. Hopefully you guys got some out. go, Dave, have fun.
Thanks again.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys very much.
Let me button the watch because I want to call my buddies. No, shoot, I just walked away.
It's a podcast.
That's fun. Hey, Joe Hillman, what's your name?
I'm Todd.
Todd, nice to meet you. You live up here?
What's that?
You live up here?
Yeah, I live in Elgin.
Okay. All right.
Not really here.
Yeah, right. Well, suburbs. I would say,
Indiana, I paid the nice there.
oh, I would say I grew up in LA because nobody knows what Glendale is. But it's like,
Now people do.
Well,